Hi everyone, so I'm back with a sort of process video. So this is two little trips that we took in June and July last year, and these are the ones I want to do straight after the wedding because they're super quick albums. They're not even albums, they're just going to go into my England scrapbook because they're both little trips obviously in the UK, well in England. And yeah, I know that I keep saying that I'm not going to be able to do anything until my wedding's done, but I had a spare hour or so and I just thought I'd get some bits together so that at least when I'm free after my wedding I can just crack straight on sort of thing. I'm not faffing around getting bits and pieces out and figuring out what I want. Obviously I've got time to add to it or amend anything, but because they're such small albums, I don't see myself using too much stuff, so I don't feel like I need to get loads and loads of things out. So there's, as I said, two little albums, not even albums, just inserts I suppose. So we've got a day trip to Hythe, which is down south near my parents, and then we went for a 2-night break to Alnwick, up north with Joe's family. So two very, very cool little trips, but I just wanted to include them in my England scrapbook, obviously. So the first one is just a little day trip to Hythe. So for both inserts, I'm going to be using this vintage paper pad that is from Craft Sensations. It's not really new, but it's fairly new. I haven't used it yet, but it's just got all like vintagey style paper, which I thought works for Hythe because you'll see what it's all about, and then it also works for Alnwick because again it's sort of older style, it's a castle and stuff like that, so I think it works on both levels. So I'm going to be using that. I've worked out for Hythe that with my photos and bits I'm only really going to be doing 3 or 4 pages, so I only have these photos, but I just want to include it because when I do go somewhere for a touristy reason, I do take a lot of photos, but I don't want it to take up a lot of space in my project life, so I like to include a couple of pages in my England scrapbook, just because I did visit there for that reason. If we're going somewhere for like an event, like I don't know, like a show or something, like we went to Manchester for a show, I wouldn't include that in my England scrapbook. That would just go in my project life and I'll just focus on the show. But if I went to Manchester to look around and do some sightseeing and visit some bits and pieces that I've never seen before, I would probably do an insert in my travel scrapbook. So it's purely if I have enough photos to do at least a couple of pages. The only thing I did get from this trip was this leaflet, which I think I paid about, I don't know, 50p for or something, and it's just the origins behind this church that we went to go visit. So it was the crypt, and it says it's St Leonard's Church has the largest and best preserved collection of ancient human skulls and bones in Britain. So my mum and dad thought this was a nice day out to take my grandma as well. So we went for the day, and it was really, really interesting. But yeah, I just wanted to include it in here. So there's my photos, and that's the only bit of ephemera that I got. The main thing I want to use for embellishments in this one is this little box full of random stuff. So I actually got gifted this for Christmas one year, and I've used some little bits and pieces out of it, but I haven't used as much as I wanted, and I thought this album would be perfect. There is some real chunky things at the top here that I probably won't use, like these Scrabble pieces and those roses and the bows and stuff, but underneath are some really cool little things. Like I could use that, to be fair, they're quite thin, they're not overly chunky, not like this one. So yeah, I could even use those, but a lot of the stuff underneath here is what I'll be using, so these are too chunky. But there's loads of little vintage stamps and tags. These tags are perfect obviously to write on. There's some little pieces of like metallic card, strips of like music paper, more stamps. I probably won't use these leaves or the bows because they don't quite match the theme, but there's loads of ribbon, tags amongst tags, so they're really, really handy because obviously I can write on. I don't think I need to use all of them, but they're there. Loads of ribbons, buttons, lace, which I'm really keen to use. I'd like to use some of this in there because I think that's really pretty. So yeah, I want to get a bit, not mixed media, but a bit more textured for this one because it is only small. It's not going to make the album too chunky to be able to use some of this material and things. So yeah, I feel like I can do a little bit more I don't know, experimentation with this one. So yeah, lots of nice little cut-ins of different materials, like got netting. This one's nice. This is, I don't really know what this is, but it feels like proper paper. So yeah, loads of random little bits. There's little like gems, buttons. I'm not sure how many I'll use. I don't want to make it too chunky, but I do like some of the little buttons and things they have in here. So yeah, really, really fun. There's loads in here. There's even some like scraps of like books, which I think is really fun. And I just don't think about that, you know, when you're in like charity shops or something, you could just buy an old book and just rip out the pages and use it as you know, paper behind. This is obviously from Vanity Fair, which I think is quite cool. So yeah, lots of random little bits of card and stuff like that. So I'll have fun digging through this and just including it in my little mixed media style one. As I said, just trying to experiment a little bit more. This has been in my stash for a while. I've used some little bits of it, but I've not been able to do anything because I haven't really taken a trip that uses this sort of stuff. So this is the first time I've sort of been able to really use it. But yeah, so I'm excited to use that and get some of the, you know, stuff used out of it. So yeah, that was that. And then I do have some other little bits that I want to include. So obviously I do have some more stickers. So this sticker pad has some really cool, where is it? This. So these little, like, I'm going to use them as like photo borders and little buttons, not buttons, they're like little screw holes. These are like strips of paper that remind me of washi tape and stuff. So yeah, lots of old style stuff. So I'm hoping to use, I've used a few of those actually, but I'm hoping to use some of these in the album. So that will be fun. Oh, and then I am going to use my Distress Spray Stain in Vintage Photo. So I'm going to be using that to splatter across the pages. I might even do that before I even do the photos and stuff. I might pick how many pages I need and then like splatter it completely in that, just to make it a bit more I don't know, more consistent across the page rather than just around the photos. I do have these little tags. These are just floating around in my little label pack, and I thought I'd use those because there are only 2 left. And then I do have these gold gems that I used a lot from my Canada series, and I've cut them down. They were like this long, but I've cut them down and managed to get through some of those, so I put some of those on. And then the last but not least, obviously I'm going to use some washi tape. So this is the skull washi tape that I got off Etsy quite a few years ago, and I love it. And it's super chunky, which I like, but yeah, so that goes really nicely with it all. So yeah, so that is the sort of first little insert. I mean, obviously if I catch up with my wedding scrapbook before the wedding and I find myself have some time in the next 21 days, I will obviously start this album, and there's nothing stopping me from doing it. But I just don't want to put too much pressure on myself because I've got enough going on at the moment. So I'm trying not to get too overwhelmed with thinking about scrapbooking when actually my wedding's around the corner and I need to concentrate on that. So then the next part of the album will be our trip to Alnwick. So this was a 2-night trip. So we went actually for Joe's sister. Unfortunately she passed away about 8 years ago now. No, maybe 9. And at the time Joe's mum got gifted like some money to take us away as a family, to go and do something, you know, as a family. But with the pandemic and with time off and stuff, we just never got to do it. So eventually we found some dates and we found a place and we chose Alnwick, which was really cool. So we got to go here and it was really nice. It was really nice to spend some time with Joe's family and just enjoy sort of the area. So there's loads of stuff to do in Alnwick, and we probably will go back. Me and Joe will probably go back and do some other bits, but we had some key things that we wanted to do whilst we were there. So we stayed in a lovely place called, I think I've got the card here, yeah, the Warkworth House Hotel. and it was so nice. It was this little building here, but it was actually in like a little annex, like a little house, like a cottage sort of thing attached to it. But it was really lovely, so we stayed there, and then we did do some bits. So we actually walked along the beaches and things, but we did go to Alnwick Castle, which is where they filmed the first and second Harry Potter. So it was really, really interesting, and we actually did the Alnwick on tour, or Alnwick on location tour. So they show you the locations where they filmed Harry Potter, and also some of the other films that they've used there as well, which is really, really cool. And obviously the minute you sort of walk in, you can see where they filmed it, because it's so obvious sort of thing. It's so cool. And yeah, so basically if you pay entrance fee to the castle, you get to go to all these tours for free as such, so you can just pick which one you want, and it tells you how often they are on the in the sort of castle. They have like a board of what time they start and things like that. So we did actually hang around to do this tour. So yeah, so I've got a map from that. I do have a leaflet. Again, just goes on. So yeah, free daily activities once you've paid for it. Yeah, it's a really, really nice castle. I'd like to go back, and there's so much more stuff to do up there, so we will go back. I do have a little postcard, so this is just a postcard of the grounds, which I thought was quite good because that's a photo I couldn't have taken. And then I do have because obviously I bought that postcard, I got a gift bag that said Alnwick Castle on there. The only other things I do have, and I was gonna not stick this in just in case, but I do actually have our tickets. These are actually valid for a year, so they will expire the 1st of July, and unfortunately we won't be going back. We haven't got time to go back between those times. So yeah, it expires on the 1st of July, but you do actually, it's quite cool, you pay for 1 day and you can go back as many times as you want in the year. So if you like it that much and you know live up there, it's definitely worth it. But yeah, so I will stick those in now that I know I'm not going to use those. So there are our tickets. So then the photo wise, the only thing I do need to do, I do need to maybe print off some bits from the internet, but I have labelled these now. So these are the photos from the castle, and I've actually put on them what they are called, and also what they were used for in the film. You know, this was the path to Hagrid's hut. So I'm going to be printing off sort of like a picture of Harry Potter and all that in the film of the same location sort of thing, so it can put a little bit of context behind it. But these are just pictures outside the front. Then this was like the main inner courtyard. This is where Hermione overhears Ron and Harry making fun of her, you know, in the charms class sort of thing, so that's quite fun. Again, this one was what's that called? I don't really know what it's called. Oh, Hagrid. I can't even read my own writing, that's why, because it's not even spelled right. Hagrid drags huge Christmas tree through the Great Hall. This was the Chamber of Secrets. This is the Inner Bailey. Harry and Ron crash the Ford Angler in the Whomping Willow. So this is where they crash it. The Outer Bailey. This is where they learn to fly with Madame Hooch. Quidditch class with Oliver Wood as well, which is quite fun. So that one was with Neville Longbottom loses control of the broom. So yeah, it's just really fun. So I wanted to include those because obviously I wanted to label them to remember what they do. But then we did also, so we went for a walk on the beach. Bilbo had a lovely time. It was just nice to get pictures of the sun. Was lovely as well this time of year. So yeah, we just had a nice walk around. That's just us in the car, and then some of the apartment or cottage that we stayed in, and me and Bilbo. So yeah, it was just really lovely. It was a really nice little trip that we went on. So I wanted to include, obviously, all those. As I said, I do want to print off some bits from the actual film, so it gives a little bit of context. But those are the exciting things. Then to embellish it, so we'll still be using that vintage paper pad, but I did get this out, and this is, I wanted the colours really, because obviously the Harry Potter colours are sort of dark blue, green, yellow, and like sort of maroon red. So I can use some of these papers just to you know, layer up a little bit, to add a little bit more colour. And obviously being Gryffindor sort of colours, this is quite nice to use. So I will be using some of these to layer up, and I don't know how much of these I'm going to use. I might use these for journaling or anything, but I can also pick out some of these little cards as well if I want a little bit more on there. But I have used quite a lot. I mean, it doesn't look like I've used a lot in here, but I am getting through them slowly. They're all coming apart because obviously I've used bits and pieces. But yeah, it's just using things slowly but surely. Like, you know, you can see the holes and stuff from when I have used them. It's just, there's so much stuff in these. It's very hard to use all of them. But I do want to try and use some, even like the dark greens. And yeah. So yeah, lots of random little bits. I'm sure I'll be able to use some of them. Some stickers, they're pretty much coming to an end, those stickers. A few little bits and pieces. A few little bits I can use for the dates. But yeah, so random little bits and pieces that I can use for that one. I do have these little label tags. Again, these were sort of just floating around, and I thought because they're like school sort of theme, they'll go along with like the castle sort of thing. I can write a little bit of journaling on there. I do have these little crowns because obviously it was a castle. I always like to include, you know, obviously something to do with royalty or something. So I got out these little crown wood veneers to put on there. Then these little covered in all other sort of gems, but these little sticky gems, I'll only be using the greens and the yellows, I think. So that's why I got them out. But yeah, they're absolutely covered with all sorts. These have been battered in my stash for a long time. So yeah, I'll be able to use those hopefully. And then these. So I did get out the Witches and Wizards part 2 from Echo Park, but my key, what I really want to use is these. So these are actually just from, I think it's from Wilco's, but I brought these quite a few years back. When I went to California, we went to Universal and went to the Wizarding World and in Universal, and I haven't used all of them yet. So this is my key sort of goal really, is to use these up. These stickers first. So there's quite a few on that one. There's not so many on that one. A few on that one. A lot on that one. And a few on that one. So I hopefully will use all of those up. I just thought I'd get this out just in case I wanted some smaller stickers or something just a little bit, I don't know, just a bit more niche, I suppose. But I also have these cut aparts as well, which went with them. Again, not sure if I'm going to use them as much as I think, but they've got some nice little quotes and stuff on there. And the reason why we chose Alnwick was because Joe's sister was a real big fan of Harry Potter, so it was always an idea to go. So I'm glad we did go, and obviously we love Harry Potter, Joe and I, so it was really fitting and something we've always wanted to do as well. So yeah, it just means that we can use up some of the Harry Potter stuff, which is cool. And then obviously it's got the sticker sheet with loads of really cool little stickers and stuff on there. So yeah, I might use some of this. You know, I'm keen to use up bits. I've got a couple of sheets of different collections about Harry Potter, so there's no harm in using some of those up. And then I am going to use this washi tape, which is actually from Carpe Diem, which I do not remember much of those. I know they went bust maybe, or just stopped, but it's just a striped one in the sort of colours that go with it. So yeah, I thought that was quite cute. So yeah, so this is my next sort of project. As I said, if I've got some time in between the wedding prep album, I'll crack on with this. But if I don't, it will be the first thing I do when I finish wedding planning. And after a few days of decompressing after the wedding, I'll start doing this because I'm sure I'll want something to do. So yes, I hope you enjoyed this little process video, and I'll be back shortly. Thank you very much. Bye.